what a difference 2 weekends can make after it was just 2 short weekends ago that South Carolina looked to be all but a lock to host a regional in the NCAA tournament. And now fast forward to today, they are fighting for their postseason lives after getting swept here in Knoxville as the Gamecocks dropped the series finale against Tennessee 4-1 on Saturday afternoon. And this was kind of a lackluster day overall. For the offense especially, it was just not a good day. They really couldn't get anything going against Tennessee's pitching staff this entire weekend, only scoring 7 runs this entire series. But in the 8th inning, it looked like they had a chance to go out and do some damage. Talmadge LeCroy had just hit an RBI single to give South Carolina's first run of the day. And just like that, South Carolina had the tying run at the plate with 1 out in the 8th, and Will Tippett was coming up to plate, but of course he struck out looking, and then Austin Brindley flew out to left, and that rally was over. And it's unfortunate because the pitching staff today actually didn't do half bad. Mark Kingston decided to go with a pseudo bullpen game, I guess you could say, using a lot of guys that have starting experience and long relief appearances that can pitch short innings today and be preserved for Hoover next week with the SEC tournament looming. Dylan Eskew got the start today, went 2 innings, giving up 1 run, no hits. He looked pretty sharp. Matthew Becker then came in and pitched pretty well for the most part. In his 2nd inning of work, he had 2 outs and then gave up a walk, which led to an RBI double, and that gave Tennessee the lead. And then that would be it for him. And then Eli Jones came out of relief as well. Pitched 2 innings, gave up 2 runs on 5 hits. Now, I will say his line is not as bad as it looks. He pitched to pretty much a lot of contact today, but his defense really wasn't that good behind him, despite there being no errors on the board. Talmadge LeCroy had a ball hit his way that went over his glove, and that led to an RBI hit. And then later in the inning, with 2 outs, Gavin Cassis had a high chopper ground ball hit his way at third, and he made a bad throw to first that led to another run. And just like that, Tennessee had 3 runs in the inning, and it became a 4-0 game, and it was too big of a deficit for South Carolina to overcome. And now, over these last 6 games, the Gamecocks are on a 6-game losing streak heading into the SEC tournament. And like I said before, things are not looking good right now. We're doing a lot of watching and seeing what's going on. There are a lot of tiebreaker scenarios that are going on, and we'll know exactly when and where South Carolina will be playing on Tuesday in Hoover. But some games to watch for. Vanderbilt won today. LSU, last time I checked, was up big, and so was Florida. So if these 2 games hold with LSU and Florida both winning today, it really does come down to what happens with the Bama-Auburn game later tonight. I think it's at 6:00 p.m. at the time of recording. But if Alabama wins today, it looks like South Carolina will be a 10 seed playing Alabama in the SEC tournament on Tuesday. And if Alabama loses, that would mean Auburn wins, and South Carolina would be the 9 seed playing Florida. Again, nothing's official here, but that's just what it's looking like right now. And look, it was just 2 weeks ago, like I said, that this team was in a position to potentially host a regional. And now they're all but certainly going to be traveling for wherever their regional is. And it's not even a lock at the end of the day. Kingston was saying after the game that with 13 SEC wins and an RPI that's in the top 30, that should be good enough to get them into the tournament. And that's the precedent that he has known and trusted, and that's what he's going to continue to do. But at the same time, I mean, look, if you go 1-out in Hoover, who's to say that you get left out? I mean, it's nowhere near a lock yet, but we'll just have to see what happens. So that is going to do it for me from Knoxville. I will be traveling to Hoover at some point before Tuesday. We'll figure out when, but I will be in Hoover for the entirety of the SEC tournament as far as South Carolina goes, and then wherever they get sent for the NCAA tournament, assuming they make it that far. So that's going to do it for me. For GamecockCentral.com, I'm Jack Veltri.
All right, it's now Sunday. I'm adding on this little section just to provide some updates and stuff. So South Carolina will be playing as the 10 seed in the SEC tournament against Alabama on Tuesday around 2 p.m. approximately Eastern Standard Time. I will be in Hoover on Monday and then game time on Tuesday. So we'll see what happens, but no idea who's pitching yet. I would assume that most guys are available, if not everyone, but we'll have to see what happens. I do think the pitching staff is in decent shape and honestly didn't have too bad of a weekend when I'm looking back at the numbers, outside of a few guys, obviously. So we'll have to see what happens. But, I will see y'all in Hoover. For GamecockCentral.com. Again, Jack Veltri.